We will now move to the distinguished gentleman, Mr. Jack Jones, recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank our witnesses for testifying today. And at the outset, I always like to frame this for constituents and everyone watching back home. But one of the things I want to focus on today, and the chairman's probably too humble to acknowledge it, but one of the accomplishments that he had thus far in this session, among many others over his career, was the inclusion of H.R. 2277, the FACT Act, and the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which, of course, as Mr. Tiffenbach no doubt knows, extends PRAC's authority through 2034. And I think it's important to focus that on the outset because we talk about the many accomplishments of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. This is one of them. And it's because the bill was so big and had so many great things within it that sometimes it's, some of these accomplishments could be overlooked by the media and others. But in this case, this hearing amplifies just how successful that was. So I want to commend you, Chairman Sessions, for your leadership in introducing that legislation and getting it into the One Big Beautiful Bill Act for passage and enactment. So my first question to you, Mr. Tiffenbach, is to help our constituents know, my constituents and the constituents of this committee, could you walk us through what the world would look like if PRAC had expired? If we no longer had access to this great tool that is meant to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, walk us through what life would look like if this had expired and we had not been able to extend it last year.
So thanks for that great question, Congressman Jack, and for your support. The PRAC has assembled a phenomenally unique set of data about pandemic fraud, about program fraud in general, about the patterns, the trends, the anomalies. We've issued a number of alerts. So had we expired, the ability to provide the insights I just spoke to a minute ago would be gone. There would be another disaster. The Congress would fund an emergency data analytics capability, and we would have to spend a year or two to rebuild that. So we've been able to continue to keep pace. The fraudsters don't take naps or take breaks, so we've been able to continue to build upon everything we've learned over the last 6 years, and I think it's been a tremendous asset to the Congress and to the taxpayer.
Well, thank you very much for your answer, and I'll next move to Ms. Miskell. I'd first like to address, if I could, I'm very interested in Department of Treasury's do not pay system. Frankly, I've got a couple companies in my district that work on this, so I'm uniquely interested in the topic. And I'm just curious if you could share with us some of the recommendations you may have, legislative action you'd like to see that would help make this system more comprehensive and even more effective than it already is. Welcome your thoughts in that regard.
Thank you, Congressman. And to just put simply, how do we best equip states? How do we best equip agencies in preventing and detecting fraud? It's making it easy to do the right thing, and we can do that with data. So do not pay can be that simple tool, but it's only as effective as the data within it. So there are a couple of key data sources that are federal data sources that we have had a tremendously difficult time accessing that we know would be very valuable, from GAO reports, from PRAC recommendations. Those data sets include the ability to verify financial status. And I'm not saying, exact numbers, I'm saying a threshold, like does Mr. So-and-so make over $1 million last year? Other data sources would help to verify identity attributes. Again, the taxpayer identification number, the social security number. And again, we're not looking to get full access to these databases, but just a simple yes, no to identify identity theft. There are a number of commercial databases that we have found to be extremely valuable as well, and we are working to rapidly onboard those. So it's not just federal, it's also commercial.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you've had a chance to get to know my former colleague, Francis Brooke, who serves in Treasury alongside you. He's a wonderful guy. So I appreciate your testimony here today. I will close with Mr. Thomas, if I could. Right as I was listening a few minutes ago, you were talking about AI and the development of it. I'm fascinated by the utility that could offer in this space. Welcome any closing thoughts from you on how best AI could continue to strengthen our mission to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yeah, like I said, there's tremendous opportunity in AI. I think the foundational components that Ashley Miskell was talking about are critically important, and that is build a solid data collection of what is AI or what is fraud, so that AI can learn that. The challenge with AI is that it doesn't know the difference if you don't tell it. And so if we properly label all of these examples that both of my colleagues are finding, collect the data that represents this is fraud, we can then start to train a tool to do this broadly. And then all of a sudden you can leverage, without having to have the analyst read all of these audits and go through the data by themselves. They can be empowered with this tool that can pull out, these are the indicators of fraud. These are the patterns that just don't represent typical behavior of a payee in this program, and now someone can go look at it. That is only possible if we have this foundational kind of gold standard of this is fraud database.
Well, thank you all for your testimony. I learned a lot from today's hearing, and I yield back to our chairman.